Good morning, everybody. We're back, and we're going to begin our regular briefing with the Sheriff's Office. You guys are on the spot.
Right in front.
Yeah, you can sit in front of her, she's dangerous.
Well, good morning. Thanks for letting us brief this morning. One of the things that we wanted to do is to establish a little bit more frequent communication. So this isn't coming here briefing you on anything specific that we're needing. It's just we want to come and make a habit of being and briefing what's going on in our office, because we realize that sometimes it's not always known exactly what's going on. So, Jason, you want to start it off?
Yeah, so we're going to kind of hit this one off with three areas, staffing, operations, and some of the future concepts of what we've got going. Staffing right now in the jail, you guys have all been aware of it for the last several years of where we're at. We currently have 8 open positions in the jail. We currently have 6 of those are in background, and 2 of those 6 are conditional offers. So if this starts working out, we're going to start filling some positions. I want to count my...
We're in a good position compared to where we have been.
Patrol, we have 3 open positions with a couple in background right now.
We lost one to Thurston County, lost one down to Arizona to take care of parents.
Civil division is full for the first time in years, and functioning really well. Good group of people. It's fun to watch them work. They're all coming together and doing a lot. Then we have the DARE program. You're all aware of that. So we've got our 2nd DARE officer trained, which is a part-time position. So it's just a couple hours a week when it gets up and running. I believe you said it's going to expand out to 2 of the other.
Yeah, we have right now, our first class, we had 55 graduates at Pioneer. Our 2nd and 3rd class, we're going to start this next year, is what our plans are. We're going to start a class at 2 of the smaller schools, and I've notified most of the superintendents, one at Greatview and one at Southside. And Nicholas Monteo is our newest DARE officer who just got trained in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and he was born and raised in Belfair, so he's very connected to the community, and he speaks 3 languages, so he'll be able to appeal to some of the other kids or the demographics in those classes, so we're excited about that.
And will you also still be doing Pioneer?
Yes, yes.
So there'll be 3 schools up and running: Pioneer, Greatview, and Southside. And
eventually our goal is to try to get into all 13 different, I believe there's 13 or 15 5th grade classes throughout the county.
That's cool.
Okay, moving on that. Operational side, jail population. As of this morning, we had 68 in custody, plus 4 in Nisqually. We took in 12 over the weekend. It's been a busy weekend. Those 12 that we took in, the jail notified me it's going to create an impact on them today for the processing in court. So it's going to take some time and effort, especially when they already have one person on vacation. So I don't know if it's overtime or what, but that's what happens.
They allow vacations?
You would need to if you work there. You guys are aware of the fire. Everybody's aware of that big fire up there. It's at about 8,400 acres. I know that we had a lot of rain this weekend, but it's still going to burn. It's going to burn for a long time until we have a whole lot of rain. This may have slowed down the increase in growth on it, which is good. We had one snafu this weekend. One of our patrol boats decided to not float. So it went underwater this weekend. We got it pulled out. It was up there at the lake. We staged it up there for the fire. So we've had to pull it out, and it'll be going to a local vendor to get checked and see what damage.
Obviously, it was not one of the safe boats then.
No.
No, it's one of our Almars.
Almars.
Aluminum. I don't know how it sunk. We think that the bilge pump died on it or something, and it didn't survive all the rains.
And the weather was pretty rough when that storm or that rain clouds and stuff came in, and there was some damage to the docks and other things, so other boats were struggling with that as well. And we've kept our command post, and that vehicle up there the entire time, and we've had somebody at most every one of the major meetings, and they've been very grateful to have our presence up there.
So, major cases for the year so far, we've had a couple of homicides. I think you're all aware of the one with the infant child, which is really sad, and then there was one about a month ago. Had you all been semi-briefed on it? We'd arrested the suspect, we detained the suspect a couple of days prior on a bridge where he was suicidal-ish, and then later discovered the victim. You're aware of that one? Okay. That consumed a lot of our time for our detectives. And right now, overall, the sheriff's office is about 2 weeks ahead on its call volume compared to last year. Don't have the
Number
specific
of calls.
number of calls. So we're increasing, just like we do almost every year, we increase except for COVID year. Last night, good example of some of the stuff that you guys don't necessarily hear about. Patrol ended up with an armed robbery, shots fired call. Suspect, or victim was butt stroked, I guess, more or less with the weapon. We ended up identifying the suspect, and then our SWAT team had to get called out to serve a warrant on the house where the suspect's at. And needless to say, the suspect's taken into custody, nobody else is injured or hurt, taken 30 guns. This is becoming more prevalent where we're taking in firearms. I'm kind of rolling into a conversation piece here because we are getting very, very full in our evidence system with firearms. So we have to treat firearms differently than we do regular evidence. We have to even cordon off firearms from other evidence differently. So we're getting to a point where we're getting full. We're gonna have to figure out what to do with that. State isn't really clear on how we can get rid of guns anymore because they've restricted the sale of a lot of guns. A lot of the guns that we're taking in happen to be those that the state no longer likes to see out there. Whether we like it or not, it's neither here nor there. It's the state regs and state rules.
And you guys were aware of our large pursuit last week. Had a good ending, could have been terrible. Again, that individual, when all pressure was taken off and there was no officers pursuing him, he was still taking cars head on. He was still running people off the road. So, and there was quite a few miles. So when he came through Belfair at 80 plus miles an hour, we knew we had to stop him at that point because it wasn't because of the pursuit that he was doing this. It was something else going on. So fortunately, the team was able to spike the tires and get him stopped, and nobody was seriously injured, which that's a miracle in itself.
Your staff were excellent on how they handled it, and the community very much appreciates it. And they understood too, because they were talking about how badly this person was reacting, all the way from here, I guess, too, because almost hit somebody coming through town, an actual person
Multiple
that was
people.
a jogger.
Okay.
And, yeah, no, there's a lot, so give a thank you on our behalf to them.
You're aware that we have a team called the Critical Incident Investigative Team, Region 3's sheriffs. We're currently the lead on that this year. We got called out for the shooting down in Lewis County, so that's time consuming for us, although many of the contributing agencies assisted. We do have the primary investigation on it, so it does create a lot of work for us, which, you know, that's what's gonna happen. And then, have you ever heard of ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children?
Never heard the acronym, but yeah.
It's a, I believe it's federal, isn't it, Travis? ICAC in itself, it's federally funded up out of the Seattle area, and it has to do with internet crimes against children. Of course, that's why it's ICAC. They'll ship out cases that they discover that are within our jurisdiction that are involving internet crimes against children. We had 4 of them in the last 2 weeks, which means we had to serve search warrants, go arrest people, go take in evidence, so it creates a workload on us. Not a request or anything, it's just stuff that goes on in the backside that you folks probably don't ever get to hear about. And then
So that was the ICAC was one of those, that's part of how we got to the Emory case. You remember when we had the 20 dump truck loads full of dirt, we had to hand sift and all that type, that was through ICAC and leads there. So it's been something we've been dealing with for a while.
And we're getting ready to slowly roll out our set team. Hopefully the next person gets assigned the first September, is it, or mid-September?
We've got the sergeant in place. We'll have, I think, 2 in the next couple of months assigned to it where they will be proactive. And that's an exciting thing. He's already doing an amazing job by himself on the team, not being tied to answering calls for service, but being able to help both detective side and patrol side and deal with proactive issues throughout the community. So once we get a couple more on there, I'm real excited to see what it is that they're able to do to prevent crimes, not just react to crimes.
So kind of some future items, we were at the Sheriff's Advisory meeting this week, and it's come up twice now, if not more than that, as to.
Yeah, Spencer Lake did.
What's the status on conversation piece on new jail? We can't, we're having a hard time answering it for them. We haven't had any conversation on it, and I don't know where or how that gets pushed and from who.
With the study, we didn't hear the final.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be scheduled soon.
Yeah, the final piece of the study that was requested by the commission just came in, I think in the last week or so. It's just an 8-page addendum to the original document. If you remember, the original document was about 1,500 pages and very comprehensive. The commission had asked them to go back out and look at a full outsourcing option and what that would look like as far as cost and personnel and all those things. So they provided that last week, and then we can circle back and get that before the commission have that discussion again.
Okay.
We'll have you guys here.
Hope so. And lastly, we discovered last week that MaceCom's looking at a kind of a nasty budget increase. I understand that you're aware of that? Pat?
No, he was there. We're looking at the best case scenario. What they provided was $70-some thousand increase, and worst case scenario, a $400,000 increase. But obviously, the board directed him and the president of the board to go back to the drawing table a little bit.
Is that overall or just a pass-through for the
That was
sheriff's
just
office?
us.
I see.
That was just us, and it was gonna double the cities as well. I think Mayor Anisco was the one that asked them to go back and carve some of that stuff out because they're in a situation where they wouldn't be able to afford that increase. And it has a lot to do with the infrastructure that hasn't been attended to. And you get to a certain point and now you're gonna have to replace a whole bunch of stuff. So,
When that comes, we're gonna have to know our options. Standalone, options, I'm not saying to do any of them, but we need to know what those are and what they look like.
Are you referring to options like outsourcing that work?
Either
or-
outsourcing that work or, we looked at this many, many years ago, and, the sheriff at the time had talked about handling some of it themselves and having their own department to do it. I don't know what the different options look like 10 years later, but.
Well, I do know that we had discussions about outsourcing the work to either WSP or perhaps
Pierce
Thurston
County, Thurston.
County, a couple different counties. But again, those are negotiations and contracts.
Yeah.
And do they have the bandwidth and all those kind of things? But I assume with technology, it's only gotten better, and that capability is even more of a possibility. So discussions we had on that.
I don't know that we could develop that contract and do everything that needs to be done within the short time of our budget process for the next 6 months.
No, but I mean, it may be a discussion that if we have to eat it for continuity of operations for the next budget year, but then we're not going to do that again because we're going to look for other services, that may be something that would be an option.
But I think they're going back to the drawing board, so we don't want to overreact at this point. Last thing that we had was we had a neighborhood watch captain meeting on Saturday, and we've gotten a grant with the steering wheel lock systems, the club type of thing. Waspik, yeah. So we had a whole bunch of those, and we were able to give those to the neighborhood watch captains to give out to the members of their community, along with kind of a overview of what's going on in the office for the neighborhood watch captains. And we got new people in there, they're engaged, and we're gonna continue to push getting assistance from our communities and increasing and strengthening our neighborhood watch and the communication between neighborhood watches, so that if somebody's committing crimes in different communities, we're getting that information and making those links.
So would you ever want to do a presentation on Neighborhood Watch to get other people aware of?
Presentation here?
We've got great people in the program, really good people in the program.
That'd be cool.
All right. Any questions that you guys have for us?
I've been contacted by a woman named Jennifer Becker Covert. She was trying to get a hold of you. She's wanting to do a presentation, basically about human trafficking. She's got a.
Do you have that on email, sir?
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so she said she'd reached out to you and hadn't heard back yet, and wanted to know what, so I'll send it to you.
Do you guys find this helpful?
Is this gonna be beneficial? What would you like to see from us? Because it's about a partnership to benefit the community.
What just happened right now is an excellent example of why it's good to be here. I get calls all the time, I get things, you always interact with me anyway, but it's good to have it here. He just had an issue, he's able to put it out there and get started. When you're in front of us, that helps to be able to do that. We used to meet with the sheriff's department every single week, remember? That, back in the days, that's how, you know, when the commission was a lot more active in doing it. Never failed every week, pretty much, so. I'm not saying to do that, I'm just saying I'm appreciative of any time you wanna come in and give us.
Well, that's the other question. How often would it be a benefit? Twice a month, or?
I'd be happy with that personally, if we saw you twice, just to check in, if nothing else.
Okay.
All right.
It also gives us an opportunity to find out more about, you know, the jail capacities. You know, expenditures that used to be really good at also keeping us up on the funds that we were using from roads and stuff. So there's a lot of different things, and you would tell us.
Our
when we
traffic
had-
diversion money?
Yep, and you would tell us when we had some computer issues that were coming up and we're gonna have to look at funding, and just having those heads up is beneficial.
All right.
Travis,
Yes.
anything to add?
No.
Anything you'd like to see?
No.
Okay.
That was awesome. Well done.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a nice day.
See you guys. 2 more days. All right. Well, now we have public health.
Okay. All right, pretty easy today. Really easy today. So, at last Board of Health, we went over Board of Health vacancies, so we're bringing this forward as the news release and recruiting forms. So, we have 4 positions open. One is reserved for the Swanson tribe. No, excuse me, Snoqualmie. We have somebody from Swanson. We have 2 for consumers of public health, and then 1 to replace the one we lost from the school system.
So can you explain what a consumer of public health is?
So consumer of public health. So, and this is taken right from the RCW that we're held to. County residents who have self-identified as having faced significant health inequities or having lived experience with public health. So think people who, WIC and vaccine clinics and those sorts of programs that we offer, that category is who the state is looking for us to put on the board, so. They can't be elected officials, they can't have any fiduciary attachment to anything that we do.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yep, and then we've got the one to replace, like I said, the other person, that's community-based organizations. And we've reached out to the on-site folks, on-site septic folks.
Oh, okay.
Okay, on-site septic folks, to see if one of them would like to step into that role and have a place on the board.
So, didn't we have a school board member?
Yep.
Resign?
Mhm.
So we have one, but we've not received an application from the schools yet.
Nope. So it could be, and that's the, that last one was other community stakeholders. So it could be schools, it could be, I mean, we've had fire people on there, we've, like I said, possibly somebody from on-site septic, you know, or the,
Kinda cool to have somebody from the fire station.
Yeah.
Fire departments too.
so. I mean, we were ahead of the state for years before the state finally came around and rewrote the regs. So for us, it was a very easy transition.
Was. Kept telling him, you gotta use Mason County as your example.
Yeah, and luckily they went this way because at one point during that legislative session, they were looking to consolidate public health jurisdictions into, I think, 5 or 9 health departments across the
I
state.
think it was 5.
Yeah, and we got that got that stopped, and the trade-off was to go with this new system, which for us was no big deal. But for a lot of counties, it was a big deal to change how they do their boards of health.
Yeah, that was a fun fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions?
Nope. So
Comments?
Fill it up.
The only other thing, from 1:30 to 4:30 next Monday, I've got the state, House and Senate team coming that we're going to have in July. They're gonna be here next Monday, so if you can have time in your schedule, really particularly between 1:30 and 3:30. And that's the House and Senate Finance Committee, around FPHS.
I've got that on my calendar.
Okay. So I'd like to get Darren Moody there as well.
That would be cool.
So the plan is to come to this office for first couple hours and talk about basically financing at the high level, and then take them up to building 13 to show them how we can use that as a jump off to do new things. So that's the idea.
Who all do you want there?
Just one commissioner, and I'd like to get somebody from the Board of Health.
Cool. Anything?
Up to you guys.
I was gonna say, how do you know, I can always do it if needed, but you guys, how do
I've
you
got
want
it
to
on
do
my
it?
calendar, so.
Well, then you might as well.
Okay.
You're the chair, that makes more sense.
Okay. Other than that, any questions?
No.
You see that with great reservation.
Actually, I do, there was a meeting, how did that all go? I
Which
heard,
meeting?
with,
Oh.
Yeah, I think it
On
went well.
Friday?
I think
did it go well? I know we had a commissioner there.
I think some things that got
Hopefully we got some things resolved.
Yeah.
Improved communications, that's really seemed to be the breakdown, was we weren't getting the communications required to
Right.
make it work.
You're feeling pretty comfortable with the outcome?
Well, we'll see how it goes moving forward. And I've been spending more time with the housing piece. Especially, talking to them on the phone while I've got their stuff up on the screens, we're both looking at the same thing.
Good.
And then, all right, do we agree to this? Yeah, all right, then we put it in writing.
Wait, you're communicating?
Yeah, we're trying.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's a Monday. I'm
Yeah.
being snarky,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I get it, so.
Yeah, it was a serious breakdown in communication.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Question. Oh, I did have one other thing. Sorry.
Sorry, Diedrich.
Sorry about that. We have purchased HEPA air filtration systems.
Good.
I've got 24 of those, and I've got pallet of the 20 by 20 filters. We came out with a smoke plan, and we're going to coordinate putting some of those pre-positioned in Hoodsport or other places where so we had that smoke event last week. And just get stuff out there and be ready if we have another smoke event.
Did you reach out to the chamber?
Hadn't heard back final on that, so.
Okay.
But we're thinking
No,
either
fire
through
stations, let's do that.
the chamber, fire stations, or library.
Yeah, I'd rather do, I don't know, I feel like it should be someplace that's open more.
Yeah, so we're thinking that the chamber has got kind of reserved hours, fire stations open more.
Yeah.
So,
But they're a little busy.
they are a little busy.
Yeah, yeah, they're not always open either.
Well,
Yeah.
you might also be able to work with the port.
Oh, it's a good idea. I thought that one. Okay,
Oh, that's good.
work on that, yeah.
Yeah, cause I think they always have somebody there.
Okay, we'll do that. So, yeah, we got the pipeline opened, so if we need more, we can get more.
Good. That's awesome.
So, and they still have to be returned. We did put an income, if you make, below this, they're available for free. So,
That's
okay.
awesome. Yeah, thank you for
All
doing
right,
that.
all right, thanks.
All right. Well, Public Works,
Collins. I lost him again.
it's safe, come on in.
That's it for today.
take two.
That's all right. Morning, commissioners. One action item for you this morning.
Which one's that?
Mike's got it. The call for bids.
Chip seal.
Call for bids for Chip Rock, yeah, for 2026. So we're requesting the board to authorize Public Works to go out for bids for Chip Rock for next year.
Have we ever done this before?
What's that?
Ever gone out for bid on this before?
I'm supportive.
I'm supportive.
All right, we're going out to bid.
That was tough.
Yeah, couple of quick update items. Sorry, I can maybe speak this morning. North Bay, this weekend, actually yesterday, we had a Victor pump station overflow. So appears to be a lot of fats, oils, and grease that
The one
stuck
out
the
by the water?
floats. Yeah, nothing got to the water. It was just right at the station itself, a small spill on the cleanup. But just points out the need to reinforce, don't be dumping grease down the drain, and what's appropriate to get in the drain and all that. It's a small, there are only about 50 people at the line at that point that are contributing to that pump station, but it can just,
So you think it was caused by residents putting grease?
where else is it coming from? Yeah. And we've had that happen before. You pop open the lid and take a look, and basically the floats are just crusted up with oils and greases that are sitting.
Or do we have
At
it
the
on a
top
cycle
there.
to go and have that cleaned out on a regular
Yeah,
basis?
we have a inspection cycle, cleaning cycle, all of those good things, yep. Yeah, so that happened, and then the other thing I wanna share with you, I think, I don't know, a while back, we let you know about a grant that Health Department received as part of their PIC program. And, it's a pass-through from Pierce County. And what it is to take a look at our, what we call our wet grinders. So as you go around the canal there, some of the grinder pumps were installed in old septic tanks. They were repurposed rather than put in a new tank.
On the canal?
Yep, well, around, I'm sorry, the bay.
Oh, North Bay,
Excuse me,
I was gonna
North
say,
Bay.
I don't know of any
Yep,
sewer on the
yeah,
canal, so.
around North Bay. And so anyway, the point of this is to go and site by site, make inspections, see condition, take a look at what's there. Can they be retrofit? I imagine that we probably didn't retrofit at the time the sewer was installed because it was challenging access and all of those good things. But taking a look and re-looking and seeing if there's a way to swap those out and convert those grinder stations, and again, reduce the potential for contamination around the bay. So we've got that going, and we have a little handout. I can email this to you, commissioners, but just to give you an idea of what it is that we'll be sharing with the property owners as we go about. And a big thanks to the health department who helped put this together. And just wanted to let you know that that's happening. And then also this week we have the G1 pump station on Old Belfair Highway. We're doing a pump replacement there, so we'll have some traffic impacts on Old Belfair Highway on Wednesday. Flaggers will be out and all those good things, and some assist with road operations with the crane, so.
And try
That's
that
going.
put on the website so that people are aware, and Facebook and stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we were taking a look at whether or not there were some peak traffic times that might be better than others, and
Oh, I'd say
10
between 4 and
o'clock
6.
was just as good as any other time to be out there. And I think that is about it. Any other road updates or?
Well, we've completed Shetland RID. We've converted Yates Road to chip seal, which is out on the island. And then we finished up on Blacksmith to Huya. So as of the last 5 years, we've converted about 15 miles of gravel roads.
Pretty impressive,
So,
considering we went for so many years with nothing.
so what we're working on now is we're up Bear Creek to Watto at 6.18 and 7.43, replacing culverts up there that were flooding areas, and doing some repair work out of Kelly Hall and Bear Bower, and that little Hemlock Extension Road out there. And then next we're going to, back out on the island, to chip seal the North Island Drive Road, then Shelton Matlock. Then we have a Harstein Island Bridge Pier 1 approach. The riprap all needs to be replaced and put back together, and we're gonna do that with our county forces. And do some work there at Latimer Landing for the parks. Do some either chip seal or some paving there, so. And now we're starting, since we're done with striping, we're starting our button program, so putting RPMs out. So we'll be doing that on all of our major roads too.
I wonder if people really understand how much you guys have saved the county, how much money you guys have saved the county by using our own workforce.
We couldn't do what we're doing, we couldn't do it by contract.
Also, the quality of that paint is, compared to the state's stuff, is, what we're doing is much better. I had a phone call from somebody that had an issue with signage for a project that was not occurring. I don't know what they were talking about, but I think it was.
Might be that road closure. We had it set up to close the road at Bear Creek to Watto for the culvert, and then we negotiated with the property owners and got allowed to build a temporary bypass. So that would be the only thing.
So it was
that
a
I
big
can think
thing
we did.
that it didn't happen.
Yeah, we didn't close it.
Okay, so that's,
Yeah.
that makes sense, so I
So
get
we
to
had
say.
the reader
we
boards
found
out
another
saying it's
option
gonna be
other than
closed.
closing it, that's,
Yeah.
which is preferred,
It's
thank you.
Can you reach out to Southside School?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't include that on the update, but spoke with, the retired superintendent and asked Paul who specifically to contact about next steps. And so Paul gave contact information, and we'll be following up with one of the school board members and one of the school employees. Bottom line is there's little we can do between now and school opening, but nonetheless, and there are some things that we need to talk with the school district about their use, and they have some options, bottom line, so. Mike and Dave will want to meet with them and talk through what those options are and make sure we're on the same page.
And make sure that you include their school board.
Yes. Yeah,
Perfect.
yes. We are moving forward on that.
Great. Yep. Anything else? Got anything else for us? No?
Not enough.
Not today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Come on up. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, so, hello, I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you to anyone who's tuning in to watch this briefing. I'm Heidi Steinbach, the Noxious Weed Program Coordinator for the county. And I just have one item to discuss. So this is just a modification or an amendment to our existing Forest Service agreement. Last year at the Resource Advisory Committee meeting, we were awarded an additional $18,996 to be used for invasive plant survey and control in the Olympic National Forest. This would bring the total of our current agreement to $53,996. This agreement was finalized May 25th of last year, and we've been working on the project since then. The funds expire September 30th of 2026. So the associated cost or budget impact, this would provide additional funding for a maximum of $27,000 to be used during the 2025-2026 budget year. This funding would assist with our extra help position, and also it would add to next year's revenue and could potentially support an increase to 0.75 FTE for that position. Right now it's at a 0.5, and that would just be for the 2026 budget year. My requested action, so I'm just requesting that this gets placed on the next action agenda for approval and signature. Again, it's not a new contract, it's just an amendment to an existing one. And we found out about this deadline last week. So there is a deadline to get these amendments signed and returned, or there may be some delay with payment on the Forest Service side. So I am requesting that this gets placed on tomorrow's action agenda so that we can fit it within that deadline. And I have spoken with Cammie and Mackenzie about this, and they said it was fine to amend it as long as the commissioners approved that it be added to tomorrow's action agenda. And with that, I will take any questions that you have about this.
Well, we don't have to ask Mackenzie.
Oh, is she gone now officially? Okay, cool.
So now it's Cammie.
Now it's Cammie.
Yeah, and are you good with that, Cammie? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds like you gave them a heads up anyway, so they were prepared to do it.
I did. I felt pretty bad about having to request, to expedite this, but we found out about their deadline last week, so there wasn't much I could do, and they weren't really clear what happens if we don't get it back in time, but they said they'll process payments as time allows, and I wanted to try to get it in before their deadline so that we can get payments processed.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Okay, great, so it can get added tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
If Cammie's not gonna throw anything at us,
She might.
Awesome, okay, great, well, I appreciate that, and yeah, look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. And then just one plug, so our department, WSU Extension, we're doing a drive to collect supplies for Adopt a Pet. That drive is September 12th, and so if anyone wants to donate anything for our service event, you can drop them off at WSU Extension before September 12th.
So what type of things?
They have a list. If you would like, I can have myself or Lisa send that list out. I believe it's been sent to the whole county, but they're requesting things like, there's like a special kind of dog food they want, garbage bags, old towels they requested, leashes, those dog dental chews. They've requested like additive-free peanut butter to put in the Kong toys. They've requested the Kong toys. There's a whole list, and we can send that out if anyone wants more information. We can send that out again.
Yeah, maybe send it out again, we can get it on our website.
Okay, cool. I will mention that to Lisa. Yeah,
Put it on
she will.
Facebook or something.
Yeah, I think some of our groups have, but that would be great to get it sent to like the countywide Facebook. Yeah, I'll mention it to Lisa, our office manager.
Okay,
Awesome.
very cool.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you guys.
Anything for WSU?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, where are we at?
I think we got John coming up.
Good morning, Commissioner.
How you doing, John?
Good, thank you, ma'am. A little busy, but we're handling it.
Yeah.
Bob Burbage retired finally. I know he did that because he's looking at boats. So that's a good indication that,
What size?
well, Jill says she's gotta be able to lay down in it, so. I told her-
Good
He was
plan.
just looking at something for fishing, but now I guess that's gonna be a little larger than what he expected. So, I've asked for that position to be refilled. I've submitted you the documentation for that. Until it is filled, I'll go ahead and rotate onto the duty officer schedule so that Tammy's not filling the entire on-call piece.
So, you used to have duty officers that were not part of Mason County. Do you still do that?
We
or-
have none. The challenge is trying to figure out, it would be a volunteer position until I have an opportunity to talk to HR to find out where it is, because each duty officer has to have special qualifications to be able to be on the roster, such as IPAWS, which is the Emergency Alert System piece. They have to have, of course, the NIMS and IC Incident Command System courses, as well as understanding a little bit about how the county works and how we do our notifications to leadership as well. So I understand over the years they've dropped out of the system. So when I got here with just Tammy, and then I put myself on there, Bob was hired, then Bob went on there. So
You know, my husband was on there for a while.
we keep trying to recruit him, but to no avail. So, and I get it. It is a position that you're on call for 2 weeks at a time.
I might
That
know
can
somebody
be
that knows him, so
well, that would be great.
give it a shot.
Absolutely. So is there any questions about the request?
To fill the position. Any questions? Find a good Bob.
That will be difficult, but we're gonna try. So, but the market is, there are more emergency management people now that's in the market, so this would be a good time to try to fill that position, so. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, John.
We'll miss Bob.
Yes, yes, we will.
Okay, so the next one I have is I wanted to loop back on the Green Star Award for Deputy Mercado. That was brought up by Joint Animal Services in our last briefing. Wasn't aware that it needed to be brought forward, so we brought it forward so that we can get it on the action agenda and have them come over, not tomorrow, but it would be 2 weeks from now.
The only question is, who would be the best to present that? We could do it from the chair, but the sheriff is the sheriff, and it may be, it is a commission thing though, so.
I think that's up to you. I believe that the intent of the Green Star program is that it comes from the commission, that it's the commission that's recognizing that, so I would think that, that would be the appropriate venue. The sheriff's office has its own award program and runs that independently in that office, but, so I think it would have the meaning that it's intended to have by coming from the commission.
It could be done then either one of two ways. You could do it, or I made the recommendation for it. So either way, one would work for me.
Either way, all three of us are gonna be here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it would be cool to have you guys over here too. Yep.
Did we actually confirm with him that he could be at that meeting?
I have not heard.
Okay. I think
That's in 2 weeks.
it's on the radar of the undersheriff and I think the chief deputy, so. Okay, good. So the next one I have is I'm looping back on the letter from the city of Bremerton regarding sewer services. I think we wanted to have that discussion with all three commissioners here to just know what the commission's intent was to how to respond to that letter. It's not our place to decide how we respond to it, but we wanted to bring it back so that the commission could tell us how you wanted us to respond to that letter.
Well, one of the things that he brought up Ned Lever brought up in that meeting was that it'd be nice if we had the stuff that we're actually asking for. It'd probably be wise for us to have a work study session and take some of these bullet points and put some numbers and some requests with it.
I thought our last letter had that.
We've had questions.
Yeah, what he was looking for was basically, these are the things we would need addressed to move forward, X number of dollars, X number of percentage, try and start the process of nailing down those sorts of things. But that was my understanding of what he said.
That's what I heard.
So the hope was that we would do that on our end before we coordinated another. Okay.
Which is something I've always asked for, feasibility study is one thing, and we may not be able to do that, but we should be doing a feasibility of our own when we're looking at any of that stuff.
So does the commission have a method by which they would want to do that? Do you want to take a week to think about how we would structure that and who would be involved? How would you like to do that?
I would think it'd be like what we do for utilities. We got
we're
utility.
still talking about utilities.
This is true.
That's the issue that I have. I feel like when it comes to Belfair, we don't move fast on it. And, I mean, it's, I wanna say slow rolled, but it feels like it's being slow rolled. And I would rather not procrastinate as much as we do.
We currently have a sewer system, extension up there that all we have is a utility easement for part of it. We want so fast, we have no easement for part of it. And we have a $1.5 million, pump station, lift station on a piece of property we never even closed her. I don't think our issue is moving too slow. It definitely should be, we should have all these ducks in a row before we do anything.
I'm not arguing with you
Yeah.
on that one. I just think that we're not moving the conversation along as fast as we could or as efficiently. Maybe not as fast, but as efficiently as we could. And so I'd rather, the legislature's gonna say, all right, you guys don't want that money, you don't wanna do this. Bremerton's gonna say, you don't see the benefit, even though you came to us. So I just feel like we need to do something. I don't wanna look like a lame duck commission. And so, if we move forward, if we make sure that we're doing it the right way, let's move forward. I don't know that a work-study session is going to make a difference as far as what we're asking for.
How would we come up with the numbers if we don't?
We've got amazing staff that could present it. Doesn't have to be a work-study session.
That can present based on what we know, what we have, and what we
What
want
we're requesting for.
and deal with?
What are we
Because it's
requesting?
never happened so far. And this is a commission decision anyway, not a staff decision.
No, I understand that. That's why I said they could present it to us.
So what Ned said was they're looking for the next step, whether that's a letter from us saying, this is what we would expect from this deal. You know, whether it's dollars or percentage or whatever. Or we have another meeting where we have with them and discuss it. That's kind of the work session that I think is actually with them, so we could discuss with them what we need, but, you know, I'm really late to this party, so I'm trying to catch up. The last time Bremerton was here, they had suggested they'd charge 50% for, I forget how they described it, out of service or out of area.
I think that's what they do now.
Yeah,
But they were talking about for them.
yeah,
Yeah, but for us and what we want, I got an email from Randy Lewis after that meeting. And he threw a couple things at me. And the way I looked at it, I thought to myself, do I like it? No. But if that's what it was, I'd probably just shut my mouth. Because although it's not perfect, it's good and it would get us where we're at. I don't know if he sent it to you guys or whatever.
Could you forward that to us?
I can't, yeah. His idea is a certain percentage that he thinks that we should do and some different zoning. And I thought to myself, even though it ain't perfect, I'd have to shut up
Different zoning where?
for the zoning up where it would go.
So we're
To
telling
help-
kids that how to zone?
Yeah, to help protect us for our community. You can disagree, but I'm telling you, that's what I read, and I thought to myself, it may not be all the things that I have question of, but it was something. But we could have that discussion in a work study session, see what those things are, see what the numbers look like. One of the things he was asking for, Ned Lever, was, what is the value, what is the cost? Well, I don't know, we've never had those discussions to figure out what that is and what it looks like. I know I have my own personal view of what I think it should be at the bare minimum, but that's just my personal view, but it'd be nice to base it on facts. But the only way I know how to do it is through doing it through us sitting down at a table, working through it. If we go into a meeting with them without any of that and try to work it with them, that doesn't even make any sense. We're supposed to come up with our plan first, negotiate it with them, and they're on the other side negotiating for them. They're not gonna negotiate for our benefit in the middle of a meeting, so.
It doesn't sound like they're wanting to battle us, cause I watched the meeting, and I thought, Pat, you did a great job, so did Ned. I don't wanna be an angry neighbor either, and I'm sure that they don't either, in fact, he did state that. So, do you know, what are they looking for? I mean, it's hard for us to come up with an estimate of how much it's gonna cost us to do that if we don't do the engineering with that grant.
He implied that those numbers, you could come up with them, he could come up with them from his side. And he assumed that we could, Richard could from our side, of what, you know, not specific details, but a general sense of what it would take for Mason County to be covered. And we haven't told them what that is. I don't know that we can, but that's what I got out of that.
And for me, the hope, of course, is not just to be covered, we should benefit. This is our system, we got all the cars, all the benefit. It should be Mason County that benefits from it, or why would we do it? We're not in this just to create our own competition. We need to make sure we take care of our core, that we take care of our money, and we bring in the revenues that we need.
Yeah, the benefit, as I understood it, and still understand it, the system is drastically underutilized, and I believe it was Richard said we still have to pump water into it to have it flowing properly, to make it function properly. Well, if we can bring more paid customers into it, then we don't have to be pumping water into it. And, you know, that is a benefit to Mason County, but you know, there's got to be a cost. There's pluses and minuses. We have to look at those.
And we should clarify all that, because one thing is we're now breaking even on the system. The system wasn't just, and I don't mean to correct you on something, but it's not a 1,000,000-gallon system. What it was is it's a 250,000-gallon system that can be expanded to a 1,000,000-gallon system. So there's a difference. Just so you know, I've been here for all those years. I know you haven't, so I'm not trying to correct you. I'm just telling you what I know. So with that being so, it is functioning. Whatever we do, we're gonna have to expand, spray filled or whatever. This is the vehicle we have. It's a 12-passenger van. If we can add more seats, we're gonna have to pay to add more seats. I just wanna make sure that we do it for the benefit of us, but the only way to do it is to do the work. We can't just take a shot and throw spaghetti in the wall and hope it sticks. This is too important for our community. We need to get our value out of it, and we need to find out what those numbers are. We should have done a feasibility study for everything we do, but we haven't. Now's the time we can, and we should. The people expect that of us, to make sure we make good financial decisions.
Well, we've had the Belfort EIS, we've got I've got a notebook. Let me show you. So this notebook was given to me by Frank, before he left, and I've gone through every page of it. So I understand who was on the committee, their recommendations to move forward. And honestly, I would love for anyone to come in. Chris is gonna scan that so that people can have it on electronically. But people can come in, I'll go page by page with them. It's a lot of information, but it's a lot of really good information. And so, I guess my goal going forward is to make sure that people have, there's a lot of misinformation out there, there's a lot of not complete information. So my goal is to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. The people that are, it baffles me why people are not taking credit for where we are instead of placing blame. Taj Mahal was built, right? And we, in past commissions, have really worked to make sure that the people of North Mason and Mason County have, that they've benefited from that investment. And so, I would say, going forward, let's not place blame, take credit for the progress that we've made on it. As a whole.
If I remember correctly, and I wasn't on the commission, but this whole thing was driven by, who was it Gregoire?
Christine Gregoire.
And the fact that Hood Canal just doesn't have the flow through, so we were polluting the Hood Canal. We were forced to get well, that's my understanding, like I said, that we're forced to get a sewer system. It's like, you don't have a choice.
And that's,
Ecology.
no, but that's what was said, but that's not accurate. I was here, and I was part of it in the community at the time. The thing that they were always talking about and putting the pressure on is the fact that the Growth Management Act required that they plan for the sewer system. There was a declaration of emergency in the canal at the time, without a doubt. Now, what that turned out to be is the developer who put in the septic tanks at Belfair State Park, all the septic tanks for all the stuff, it wouldn't, the water table was so high, the tanks wouldn't sink. So he busted holes into the bottom of all the tanks in order to make them sink. And so there was where a lot of the issues came on. And they even held off on getting the last clean record. They held off for a long time to get it because they wanted to be able to get the grant money and stuff. It started out as a much smaller plant, a much smaller, Moore always laughed about it. He says, I went to Alaska, I came back, and all of a sudden that developer is gone, and now I have CH2 on the Hill, which is so huge. They got fined $1 billion and paid it. That tells you. It's like hiring a brain surgeon to lance a pimple on your butt. But he said he came back, and there it was, and then it blew up and became what it is. But we weren't forced to, we didn't have to, and we definitely didn't have to do any of that stuff. It was a choice that was made, and the commissions that were here made that choice. And once they started down the path, they just never looked back. Now, during the time of the community, part of the greatest argument that was happening was that their numbers weren't right. You know, we're trying to explain to them it wasn't good. When I first became a commissioner, that was the first thing that occurred, and our director of public works, I kept asking, please, I just want it simplified. Show me how much do we bring in, how much does it cost to operate, and what's our debt payment? And he'd bring out this whole formula and say, well, the formula, I don't want that, I just want this. And when he was doing it, he literally says, okay, well, this is how much we pay for debt repayment, this is how much we're paying to operate, and then how much we get in. And he literally sat back in the chair and went, oh, shit. It's like, yeah, that's what we've been trying to tell you from the whole time. Formulas and stuff don't always work. The reality was, we weren't gonna bring in enough money for a long, long time, and we grew it. But it wasn't mandatory. It was never mandatory. We made it mandatory on ourselves at one point when we made a moratorium in Belfair.
So irregardless, we have what we have, and so it's our job not to dwell on the past, but figure out ways to work on the future.
But at the same time, there's been a lot of people before that put in a lot of effort, and even you, we put in effort, and we're to the point to where it was supposed to be paid off in 2027. We refinanced, we did everything to make it to where it's not a drain. So no matter what, there has been a lot of good work, and it has been built, and it is there, and it is operating. As we found out, which is odd, because I don't think I ever got an email with that ecology report that Mr. Van Buster
you did.
said.
You did.
I did, okay.
We did, look at June
I-
23rd or July 23rd.
I just saw it on his, and I
It
was.
was briefed.
No, not all that stuff was briefed. Okay,
I'll find,
yeah, that's
I'll
fine.
share
Just
the
give me
notes with
just
you.
give me the date, and I'll look it up, because I know we've had some issues with it, but that was a lot of stuff that was in that document that Ken, and I hadn't seen that with,
Well, and then Richard also responded, so,
yeah, to Ken?
no,
Oh.
to ecology.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either, but again, I'm just telling you, and I'm not making an issue of it, I'm just saying, there's some issues there, and we've gotta take care of those. We can't just not. Now, I remember asking at the meeting if that hole had ever been fixed, because we had that hole a long time ago. And I had asked about that, if it had ever been fixed, and I thought it had.
I remember the briefing.
No, I asked him about the hole because of other stuff that's going on. This thing from ecology is huge, and that happened in what was it, July 25th with that letter.
Check 23rd.
July 23rd, same difference, but I don't remember having a briefing on that, but if we did, we'll see. But again, that's not the issue. The issue is it's there, and something has to be done. We have to fix it. If it's going through the ground, now, I understand that maybe it's not, but if it's going through the ground, that's about as bad as it gets.
And
So-
the ecology has a monthly meeting with, our folks. And so we can have Loretta and Richard brief us on that. I think you,
Yeah,
do
that'd be
you
good.
have that on your calendar? Travis?
What's that? Oh, the date for that?
Yeah.
I don't, I think their next meeting with ecology is in October, actually. But I think the intent of that is that they had a plan laid out for how they were going to be addressing a number of those issues and coming back with information so that they would have a productive meeting, is why it was set out to that.
Well, good. If we can get an update afterwards, it'd be appreciated, so we can sit and talk about it and look at what some of those options are to fix it.
I've got the 27th on my calendar for some reason.
Of August?
Yeah.
But I do have the, just so you're aware, Commissioner, I do have the Commissioner briefing minutes from the week of June 30th, and it does show that Loretta shared the letter from the Department of Ecology and talked about her July 14th meeting and the comments and observations about Springfield and other things.
I'll look it up. Thank you.
A pretty strong recollection of them talking about how they fixed that hole.
Yeah, we had the conversation about a hole.
Yeah, they patched the hole.
Again, that's actually been going on for a long time, but we thought it was fixed a long time ago. A long time ago. We were gonna put bentonite in it, I think that's.
Yeah, that sounds
Mm.
about right.
That's right.
Yep,
Yep.
but if it's not working, that's a big deal. Although the water that goes in there's already treated,
Mhm.
but it's still a big deal.
I wouldn't fish in it.
Well, there's no water in it.
There's
You
not.
can't fish in it if there's no liquid.
No.
But yeah, back on to the other, I just think it's important that we sit down as a commission, go over what it looks like and what the actual costs and values are, and see if we can negotiate a deal. But you gotta know what you want to negotiate a deal. You can't negotiate a deal with them coming in and just telling us what they wanna do.
I don't think that's the intent, but, so how soon do you think we can get, cause I'm still confused as to what people are looking for.
Well, I believe I understand what Commissioner Netherland is talking about, because he talked about it in the last meeting with the city of Bremerton, was just a discussion about, essentially negotiating a deal against ourselves, and perhaps we should have a meeting about what it is that we want to come to the table with for the city of Bremerton. If we have consensus by the commission and moving forward about what it is that we would want in order to continue with that, and the city of Bremerton decides that that deal is outside of what they expect is reasonable, then we would know that at that time. If that's, they consider that to be a good starting point for negotiations based on what it is that the commission decided to bring to the table, then there would be grounds for more conversation at that point. So the pace at which we could have that meeting is just dependent upon who we would have in that meeting and how we want to have that discussion moving forward. So is it your thought, Commissioner Netherland, that this would be the board sitting down and having that discussion and
Yeah.
just having a special meeting in order to do that?
Yep.
We could have-
It's not even a special meeting, just a work session like we do now. We start to knock out the ideas, what it looks like, just like we did at utility rates and everything. We haven't made those decisions yet, but we've definitely had the conversations. We have freewheeling discussions on it. But there's a checklist of things, and maybe we look at it and say, okay, that one's not important, that one's not important. This one is. This one should be this amount.
So I would say that the only thing that limits the pace at which we can have that meeting is commissioner availability and how much staff time needs to be utilized in order to get information that the three commissioners want to have, so that you can have those discussions in the meeting.
There's something to share with you. If you haven't watched it, they did have a briefing with the Port of Bremerton. And the Port of Bremerton is a taxing district for that area. So they collect revenue from it. They went through the whole thing and they looked at different options such as hooking up to them and what that looks like and how that would go. And although supportive, there's one thing that they said that I can't disagree with, that we should be doing the same. They said, although we like it, the first thing that we would need to do is a feasibility, to figure out what these things are, what those numbers are, what are the benefits, how much would it cost? Absent of that, they were not, in that, they're the Port of Bremerton, and they were not willing to go forward. That's too important. Well, we may be a small county, but we still have to do the same hard work. We still have to do the feasibility studies, find out what the costs are, what the risks are, what the benefits are, and then weigh the risk, cost versus benefit. Until we do that, we're just going off of an emotional aspect of it, because we think it's a good idea, or we think it's a bad idea, then we're not making good educated decisions. I wanna know that my decision for myself, if I think it's a bad idea, but if it's proven opposite, then I need to change what I'm saying.
So Tuesday, the 26th, we have our regular meeting. Well, we don't have one, but that's.
I was gonna say, I thought we're,
So could we, do you think we could get people together by the 26th?
Well, certainly, I think if the commissioners can be there, we can have a meeting. I guess, what is the starting point that the commission would like to start with? It sounds to me like, and it sounded like it in the meeting with Bremerton, that Commissioner Netherland has some concrete ideas of what it is that he would like to see structured into a deal if it was going to be something that was beneficial for the county. I don't know as much about whether the other two commissioners have those same ideas. Would it be useful to take a week to get what Commissioner Netherland believes would be a good starting point for negotiations, and I could distribute that to the other commissioners so that there could be a basis for conversation for the meeting on the 27th, or how would you, we could do it 26, whatever it is. Yeah.
so that doesn't bother
I'll be
me.
gone on the 26th.
I'd say if it's possible, I'd rather do it on the 2nd, because we have a meeting, I can come in right after that, and then still go to chemo after that.
Yeah.
But
But
if
we
not,
do it on
I'll
the 26th, you still have, it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
say I will make it work,
You still have your chemo, right?
but I have other things, but I can make it work if I have to. But
Okay.
I'd rather do the 2nd, because I know I already have all that lined out, so I can be here without an issue. And that would give us time, but I can do either one, whichever one you wanna do.
Well, it might also be possible that if we did it on the 26th, if we got some first initial conversation going, we might wanna have another week so that there can be more consideration by the commissioners anyways, based on the conversation that came up.
No, that's a good point.
I think that might be the most valuable way.
And based on how we've done the utility discussion, that probably makes sense.
Yeah, can we bring that utility discussion back as well? Cause I think that was part of the budget, that we needed that for the budget, so.
And
We
if we
can
do
bring
it
that back.
on the 26th, let's do it at 9. Let's do it earlier, because I will be taking off. Get over for the Wassail
Okay.
conference.
26.
Sounds good.
But, just for clarification, is that a good process by which to do it? Do we want to use Commissioner Netherland's, thoughts and ideas that he's already formulated on?
Well, I would hope they would have their own too.
Oh,
so that you could share with
Well, and then
all
we
of
can,
us.
we can just combine all three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
you
agree.
can
I was
work with-
just
we can work
wondering
with
if
all
we
three of
wanted
us.
to get yours as a baseline, and then I could provide that to the other commissioners, and then they could wrap their thoughts around that, because I know that you've had some pretty extensive consideration around that, and so.
Well, I live there and I talk to all these people, the same ones that are upset, the same ones that are even okay. It's just part of it.
So it would be possible to get something to me within a week so that I can distribute that out to the other commissioners, and then they would be prepared for the conversation on the 26th.
I will find a way to make it happen.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
And I think a lot of that's covered in the bullet points, right? The letter that we sent them, and then the letter that they sent back, so we can just go. If there's more.
That's what I assume. And, there might be more on that. I don't know. I'll look over it. If I have some other stuff I want to add, I'll add it. If not, I won't.
It does sound like that was the kind of the thrust that Ned had, was that we had some distinct points on there, and that if we wrap those up a little tighter with, numbers and ideas, that it would be helpful for them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Good.
Sounds good.
So the only other question is, do you want me to communicate with Ned about just the content of this meeting? Just send him an email and let him know that we're gonna be doing that, just
I
so
would.
that,
I think it's a good
I
idea.
don't see a
just to
negative.
keep them-
okay, yeah, just wanna let him know that, we are continuing that conversation. Okay, good. General updates from me. Just a few things. One, the Mason Lake feasibility study, we are getting information in on that, mainly, is there anything else we wanna see, those kind of things. We've been going through those documents. We're still hoping that by the end of the month, we'll get some sort of actionable rough draft that we can then bring to the commission, and start having some conversations about that. So, just wanted to let you know about that. Also wanted to wrap back and let you know that we're getting great participation from the directors and the electeds on the articles to the Mason County Journal. That's been very well received by, directors and electeds alike, so I think the Journal is pretty happy about that. Obviously, this is the most important one right here. I've got an update on the Paul and Babe statues and their trailers. Chris has been working diligently to go through the process of working with State Patrol and how do we get those checked out and make sure that they're safe to be on the roadways and all those things. So we are going to need to extend our registration window on that. It was up until the 28th. We're going to try and extend that to October 1st with the permission of the board. And mainly the reason for that is because State Patrols just didn't have the availability to check the trailers, is what it came down to. However, it sounds like the work on the wheels and all the other stuff that needed to be done is done, and they're in pretty good shape now, so
Cool.
should be moving forward with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another follow-up is we did meet with Larry Bolts on an ag committee. So he came in and talked to Chris and I pretty extensively, and we've looked up all the guiding documents. We're hoping to borrow some models from other places that they're doing this, so that we can look on the next steps moving forward. So Chris is doing a little more research on how we move forward in setting that committee up, and then we're gonna loop back around with Larry and find out, he's got some pretty good ideas on who should be on that type of committee and how they would represent and everything. So just wanted to loop around and let you know that was still going on as well. A couple items for real estate. One, we want to, on the Franjo Beach property we talked about, give Commissioner Netherland permission to sign off on the offer from the Habitat for Humanity so that they can begin that process, so.
Do I have?
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay, good. And then, we also want to, surplus the property on West Hemlock that, we've been discussed, and wanna make sure that Commissioner Netherland had permission from the board to, work on that as well. And then I also wanted to loop back on the Phillips Lake one, because that topic came up. We actually did brief that on September 28th, and that process has already gone through with Richard Beckman. So I think none of us remember too much water under the bridge at that point. So
Sounds good, I can go ahead and sign that. One thing you were mentioning on the lakes and stuff like that, when we get together and we start to talk about the wakeboards and stuff, I just sent you something from a citizen in regards to jet boats and stuff, because they live on Mason Lake and they've been dealing with wakeboards and jet boats. He's copy and paste, he got some from Lake Tabs and he sent it over to us, so I sent it to you for you to look at.
okay.
In actuality, though, we have an expert here that we're gonna wanna talk to also when the time comes, because that was what weighed on us for our final decisions on the last time. If you remember, the sheriff came and spoke, and you actually had a staff member that worked with it extensively. I think it was a Drogman that you had back then doing all that, or?
No, that was Dugan.
Dugan, yep.
Yeah, and I know Commissioner Carswell's been having pretty extensive conversations on this topic as well. And so if, with your permission, I'll forward that to the other two commissioners, make sure they're in the same,
Yep.
have the same information on that, so. Perfect. And other than that,
Very constructive.
I think I have exhausted my topics.
Any more news on Mason Lake Park feasibility study?
Yes, so that's the one I was just referring to was the one that we're hoping to get a final actionable rough draft at the end. So
So we don't have a date from them though? When they're gonna get
they're
it?
hoping by the end of August. That's what they had told us. So the deliverables by the end of August on that actionable rough draft. And so I believe that we briefed the commission that we had actually gone out to the park and met with, what's the parks board, the ROC, RCO or something?
RCO.
Yeah, RCO. So we met with the RCO folks out there and brought some county staff out there who brought Tanessa out, who works on some of the grant writing and those things. So we had some pretty positive interactions on that. We also had a meeting with the EDC and the YMCA to talk about maybe some partnerships if the county determines that they want to move forward. The YMCA might want to be involved in some aspect of that to help with their youth programs and some of the things they have going on. So we're looking at a bunch of different options for partnerships that might help facilitate the project and move it forward. So. And with that, I think I'm done.
Okay.
You have anything?
No?
You have anything?
I had, but I can't remember what it was. I'll let it go.
Well, I do wanna say that I've been the topic in newspapers for a few weeks now. And just want people to know that I am not going to resign. You are stuck with me until December 31st of 26. So ask your friends to drop that topic. And going forward, we have to work together. And so I wanna make sure that we can work together. And some people are making it very difficult for me to want to work with others. And so I would really appreciate people understanding, you know, just be kind to humans. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, just to clarify, I do like these people, and I think I call them, but they stand on their own feet, and you guys have their own relationship. It's you that has to talk to them. I tried on a different occasion, but I'm not gonna sit there and tell them what to do. I don't have any authority over any of them. They're adults, and,
Yeah, I get that.
yeah.
I get
because
that. But lots of times friendships, you can influence friends, so just saying. Anything else? Okay.
Nope.
Motion?
Madam Chair, move we adjourn.
Second.
You did it last week.